And there were a couple situations that happened means I will never go back to that country ever again. Every Chinese person asked me, 中国好还是美国好? We started getting worried and then suddenly we see his girlfriend and she tells us that, you know, while they were walking off by themselves, he was suddenly surrounded by these like 9-10 dudes and sort of just pinned up against the wall and just beaten.
Okay.
And he was sent to the hospital. He lost his front tooth.
Why did they do it?
Well, they did it because he was with a local girl. There's like people jumping from trees coming at us. There's like, now we got the police coming, right? Jonas is bleeding. Like, we need to get out of here immediately, right? This is deportation. This is it. I'm done. I'm about to get on a plane. Like, life is over. And I'm just gonna be.
There's no more Chinese-speaking countries for me anymore.
Yeah, like where am I gonna go? Like
Malaysia?
Malaysia, Singapore, they speak English there.
Hello everyone, Andres here. I'm today with a new video to introduce you Taylor, whose story is super fascinating, but it's also, I feel some sort of connection because he, similarly to my story, you know, moved to China, and from China, when things happen, like fascinating and sometimes scary stuff too, he moved to Taiwan, and after many years, he's here with us in Taiwan. So let's go into the details and let's ask Tyler all the questions. So let's get started.
All right, hey everybody. Like he said, my name's Taylor. I'm from America. And when I was 18, I decided to move to China for 1 year to study abroad. I was studying Chinese at my American university, and they had an opportunity for me to go abroad for a year. Because, you know, I thought, you know, if I'm gonna learn a language, I need to go to the country.
Yeah, of course, there's
right?
no other way.
Yeah. So when the first year I went there, it was, in 2014, it was wonderful. It was honestly a whole new world, and it was the world that I saw in history books, right? You know, I got to see things like the Forbidden Palace. I got to see like these old traditional buildings in Beijing, like the Hutong. And then at that time, China was incredibly welcoming. You know, I would go into the Hutong, and I would find these old Beijing men just drinking baijiu and erguotao. Yeah, when I first went there in 2014, it was a wonderful experience. So when I had the opportunity in 2018 to go back, I took that chance immediately. I went through a program with the United States State Department it was called Chinese Flagship. Thought I was going to be in for a similar experience, but it was vastly different than the China I knew back in 2014.
What happened?
I just did not feel very welcome there. In 2018, I think it had a lot to do with politics.
Oh, I see.
And at that time we had Trump, you had the trade war happening.
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
So there was, and you know, when I was there, in 2014, no one ever asked me this question, but 2018, every Chinese person asked me, 中国好还是美国好? And I'll be like, what? I'll be like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know, like, they have goods and bads.
Yeah.
And whenever I would give some sort of neutral answer, or God forbid, I said America was better. God forbid. Then it would kind of start into an argument of like, well, you know, do you guys have a nice, like, DTA, like us in Beijing? We have a nice subway system and stuff.
Okay.
It's kind of like a joke with people. Yeah. Like, you know, you'll have someone from Beijing, they'll go to like Seoul in Korea, or they'll go to Tokyo in Japan. They're like, this place is nice, but the food's better in Beijing. It's like this constant like comparison.
Yeah.
And there were a couple situations that happened, probably I think within my first semester there, that just sort of left a sour taste in my mouth. Probably means I will never go back to that country ever again.
Why is that?
So there's two big situations that I think have left a scar in my life. The first one was we were in I think it's dead now, but at the time there was a club district essentially called Sanlitun.
Okay.
And we were hanging out with a bunch of friends, right?
Having a good time,
you know. We're just, you know, we're going in, there was a club called Elements. We were like having a good time, you know, dancing. And then we ended up getting separated from one another, which tends to happen, right? And my friend, he was with his local girlfriend at the time. And they sort of just went off and did their own thing, and I'm with our other group of friends, right? And it gets to around like midnight or 1 a.m., I forget, and everyone's like, oh, where's this our friend at? Like, like, no one's like heard from us. Like, this is kind of weird, all right?
Yeah.
We started looking for him because we started getting worried, and then suddenly we see his girlfriend, and she tells us that, you know, while they were walking off by themselves, that he was suddenly surrounded by these like 9-10 dudes and sort of just pinned up against the wall and just beaten.
Okay.
And he was sent to the hospital. He lost his front tooth.
Why did they do it?
Well, they did it because he was with a local girl.
God.
I don't know if I ever told you the story. We had a similar situation happen.
Okay.
It was at a club. I think the club's gone now, but you can look it up. It's called Playhouse.
Okay.
And in our group of friends, we had this German kid. We'll call him Jonas. He's a young kid, 18 years old.
Okay.
He's like he was our friend, but we kind of like hated him. He was like the little kid. And then we had a friend from Comoros. Do you know Comoros?
Yeah, like an island near Caribbean?
East Africa.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Former African colony. Essentially, he's a black man.
Okay.
That's the point. We go to Playhouse and we are having a good time. And there's this group of Chinese people. And they're like, hey, come up to this like VIP section with us on the second floor. We're gonna give it drinks, we're gonna have a good time, right? And we're having a good time. We're like, this is like a nice night out. We're like, oh, like we made some new friends. Like, I don't even know anything about this. This is like some rich kid, right? Well, this rich kid, once he gets really drunk later on into the night, he starts just talking shit. Like he starts insulting all of us, and he like starts calling my friend from Comoros, he starts calling him the N-word, right? Like over and over again. And Jonas, this cute little German kid, he looks up at the guy.
Yeah.
And he says, hey, I don't think you should be saying that, right?
Yeah.
And let me tell you, Jonas immediately just got punched in the face. He's got a bloody nose.
Yeah.
And he comes over to us and he's like, Jonas was essentially like, we need to defend our friend's honor, right?
Yeah.
So we all go over there and we're like getting ready to like fight this dude, right? Cause it's like,
okay.
You can't, I mean, we don't like Jonas, but he's like our friend. Like you can't punch him.
You came in together. So.
Yeah, we came in together, so we're gonna leave together. Well, when we started getting aggressive with these people, suddenly we're outside of Playhouse and we're confronting them, and suddenly this like, I don't even know where they came from like the woodworks, like they were hiding in the trees or something. These like group of Chinese people just start coming out and they're like, what are you trying to do? And I just remember there was this like man, he was like, I don't know, is it appropriate to say midget? He was like 4'9".
Okay.
And he like got a tree branch and he just slammed it against the ground. And he was like, you wanna die? And I'm like, what's happening right now? like
sounds like a prank or something.
Yeah, it's like, am I getting punked right now? Like, is this like some sort of like Chinese TV show? Like, I'm like 2 meters tall and this man is like 140. Like, this is like, this is not gonna end well for you.
Yeah.
We notice the guy's girlfriend, the one that started all this, she's on the phone. And we're like, why is she on the phone? Like, there's like a situation happening, like why isn't she caring? Found out she's calling the police. So if there's any sort of confrontation, this is from every experience I've heard of, from my friend's experience.
They're gonna be leaning towards the locals.
Yeah, like we haven't really done anything wrong at this point, right? But she's still calling the police. Like we're not the one instigating this or anything, right? So then we're like, oh God, like we need to get out of here. Like this is not, one, there's like people jumping from trees coming at us. There's like, now we got the police coming, right? Jonas is bleeding. Like, we need to get out of here immediately, right? And then so like, we're like, all right, let's just like run. Let's just run.
Yeah.
And then like, we just start getting chased. They're chasing us down the street.
It's like a kung fu movie, you know?
It's like a kung fu movie. There's like a kung fu movie.
The triad's gonna appear.
Yeah.
Thai mafia.
Yeah, exactly. And then as we're getting across on the street, we had a friend from Spain. I won't use her real name. I'll say Elizabeth, all right?
Okay.
Elizabeth, she ends up getting like, they're throwing things at us and she ends up getting hit with like a rock, right? Thank God, nothing serious. But they're like throwing things at us and she gets hit. And then our friend...
It sounds like a war zone.
It felt like a war zone. This felt like a war zone. Yeah. And so we're just trying to get out of there. They're all chasing us. We see the girl from behind us. Still the phone in her hand, like giving like updates.
Maybe she's calling like Ministry of Defense or something.
Yeah.
The missiles.
We need an airstrike right now. Family twins.
It's gonna be napalm all over the place.
And so we're running, and then they end up catching up to us, and we're trying to like talk the guys down. Like, look, we're not even trying to fight right now. Like, just let us go home, right? And then we end up just having to like just fight these guys in the street essentially and just run away to taxis. Like we just have to run away to taxis. And I think after that experience, I was like, maybe I shouldn't be in China anymore. Maybe this is not a great place to be.
Yeah, sounds like There could be better options.
There could be better options.
So what was your next step?
Summer 2019, I go back to America. I find some job in San Francisco, but it's not the same. I still have that appetite to just go back to Asia, go back and explore the world. So originally I was gonna do the Peace Corps, but something happened in 2020 and that ended up falling through. So in 2021, I saw they were accepting flights again. They were accepting applications to be English teachers in Taiwan. And so I just dropped everything and I was like, screw it. I'm just gonna get on this flight and I'm gonna see what happens.
Yeah.
And I've been in Taiwan ever since. So almost 3 years now.
Wow. So how did you like your choice?
Oh, it's it's a lot better. It's a lot different than I expected though. I love it here. But when I came here, I originally thought it was just gonna be democratic China.
Okay.
And it's not democratic China. It's its own very special place. I remember when I first came here, I had it's kind of funny with the earlier stories. I had a couple run-ins with the police. Something that I learned about Taiwan is people love rules. This is gonna sound strange to say. People love rules.
Yeah.
And rules are meant to be followed.
Okay.
And my only experience in other countries was China. And China, honestly, it's like the Wild West. As long as you don't...
Wild East.
The Wild East. As long as you don't, honestly, anything short of, killing a man, you could do anything, right? I knew a couple of Russians who would just start... Do you know OFO? Mm-hmm. They would just start throwing OFOs, these, rent bikes everywhere. And police would see them and they just wouldn't care. So when I came to Taiwan, I thought it was going to be a similar vibe. And not at all.
Yeah, Taiwan is civilized.
It's civilized. yes. But I think that's good.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, why did police look for you?
Oh God. So
you lost your cell phone.
No. God, in my defense, I was very young. I was 23, and it was 2021, and it was my first time in Taipei. And I went there to go buy a mountain bike. I like biking, I wanted to go buy a mountain bike. First time in Taipei. And I was with my friend Yunze. He's an American, but Yunze. And and we were taking the subway back to go back to Taoyuan, right? To go back and take the HSR. And I'm carrying this bike on my shoulder through the MRT. And my friend's like, hey, I think you need to buy a separate ticket for the bike. And I was like, no, you don't. I was like, even if you do, they're not gonna stop me for this. This is no problem, man. So I just pick up this mountain bike with one arm and I scan on through the MRT. And I'm like, it's no problem. And I put it back on my shoulder and I'm getting I'm about to get on the escalator. And then suddenly I have 2 police officers come over here. I have the people from the front desk come over here and they're I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, this is about to be my thought is this is gonna be China. I'm about to be in serious trouble. They're gonna take me down to the station. And the look on their face is so serious. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, what's gonna happen next? And they all run towards me and they're and they smile and they're like, oh, you need to buy a ticket. Come over to the front desk.
Yes. Exactly right.
Yeah. It was such a culture shock. Cause they were rushing towards me, not to berate me or to say anything. They just wanted to help me. They thought
no police batons, nothing.
No. And then there was one more time in Taiwan, unfortunately, where the police came. I say this and people are gonna think that I'm some sort of hooligan. I'm out here in the streets. It was in the summer 2021. Okay. And at that time, I think the virus was making its rounds through Taiwan, and there was a mask mandate. Okay. But me and my friend were tired of being stuck inside, so I think it's a month into the mandate, and we're like, let's just get on a train, let's go to Yilan, middle of nowhere, let's just get away from the city stuff, right? Yeah. So we take a train to Yilan, and we're having a good time, and we're outside our Airbnb, and we're just drinking a couple beers. And in front of us is just this little rice field. There's no one really around us. We're just sort of dangling our legs, just talking, chatting into the hours of the night. And then I think around 2 a.m., we're starting to walk back to our Airbnb, and suddenly we see 5 police cars just racing behind us. And I look at my friend's face, and he just closes his eyes, and he's just please, just don't let this be us right now. Let there be something happen. There's there's like some sort of like drug den they busted or some fire's happening. Please don't let this be us right now. And so, of course it's us. And these 5 police cars just come up behind us, and then like we have like, no kidding, like 8, 9 officers come out and like chase us down. And we're like, oh, Jesus Christ.
What do you mean they chase you? Like you were like...
So we're here, so here's like the road, right?
Yeah.
And then where Airbnb is coming this way.
Okay.
And there's like a row of apartments here, right?
Oh, okay.
So they can't really drive in. So they all just parked right here in front of these row of apartments. And then they start chasing us down, right? We're literally maybe 100 meters away from our Airbnb, and they stop us and they're like, "Where's your mask?" And we're like, oh, wait, what? We're like, wait, what? There's like just us out here. There's nobody for like there's nobody out here. It's 2 a.m. Like, what do you mean? They're like, where's your
2 a.m.?
Yes, 2 a.m. Middle of the night.
All right.
Right, and we're like we're just going to go get them, right? We're like, oh, we're just gonna go get them. They're like, no, we had someone call us like an hour or 2 ago, letting us know that there were 2 foreigners outside with no masks.
Oh.
And I was like, first off, I was like, who the hell is snitching on us at 1 a.m. about masks? All right. And then 2, I was like, there's like no one else out here. And then so like we get grilled. They're like taking, like they're like over here with their notepad, like taking notes, right? And I'm over here like, cause you know, I'm still in like that China zone, right? I'd only been in Taiwan for like 3-4 months at this point. I'm like,
yeah,
this is deportation. This is it. I'm done. I'm about to get on a plane. Like life is over, and I'm just gonna be.
There's no more Chinese speaking countries for me anymore.
Yeah, like where am I gonna go? Like
Malaysia?
Singapore. They speak English there. So they start taking info on. I'm getting ready. I'm like, they're gonna put us in cuffs. Everybody getting these cars, and they're like, all right, we're gonna send you a $3,000 fine, $3,000 NTD in the mail, and just don't do this again.
It's a pretty good deal.
It's a pretty good deal. I was terrified at the time, but it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, I think so. I know that was very serious in Taiwan, all the masks.
Yeah.
But you were talking, you went to you like the healthcare in Taiwan. I just been to the hospital, right?
Oh yeah,
It's very useful, the healthcare, especially if you have this violence record and police history.
You know, I live a very dangerous, high-risk lifestyle. And honestly, the thing that makes me want to stay in Taiwan forever is the healthcare. It's just such a big stress to alleviate from my life. For example, I had to stay in the hospital for 6 days recently. They think it's pronounced dengue fever. Yeah. And I had to stay in the hospital for 6 days. I had a fever of like 42 degrees Celsius. It was awful.
Oh yeah.
But it cost me like nothing. It cost me like, I paid like 600 NTD, I think.
That's a pretty good deal. For staying in a hospital, it's like 100 NT per day.
Yeah, like 100 NT per day. Like I was in a room with like 3 other people.
It's a steal.
Oh yeah, bro, it's cheaper than a hotel. Comparing to States, the medical costs, it's just night and day. This one time when I was living in San Francisco, I had an electric skateboard, and I don't want to hear anybody in the comments yell at me about that, but I had an electric skateboard that I rode to work every day, going 30 kilometers per hour, no helmet. And as I was going to work one day, this car decided to run a red light. Okay. And I got hit, right? I got hit by a car, and ended up hitting my head against the road. And I was pretty dazed there for a second. So I got my bearings, I got my information from the lady, and I went to the hospital to get a checkup. I just like hit my head pretty hard. Like I think I lost a few IQ points, right? And I go to the hospital. Another thing about America, I was in the emergency room just waiting for 2 hours. Just for 2 hours, just waiting. And then the doctor finally sees me. She asked me, I think, 4 questions, like what's your name, what is today's date, who's the president, and something else. And she's like, all right, we can give you an MRI if you want, but I don't think you need it. You seem fine, you don't have a concussion. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, that's nice, cool. So I go home, and great thing about America, they don't tell you the price up front, right? They send it to you in the mail.
Surprise.
Yeah, it's a surprise, right? So I go in, I think like 2 weeks, 3 weeks go by, and I've totally forgotten about it. And suddenly I get a little present in the mail from something hospital, and it's a bill for $1,200.
For the pop quiz.
For the pop quiz. And no tests were done. I was asked 4 questions, saw the doctor for a total of 5 minutes, and then was sent out. $1,200.
That is pricey, I think.
And I had insurance. With my job, yeah. So,
wow. Yeah, it makes difference. Yeah, by the way, I also had a dengue right before, like the dengue fever, and you know, at that time I was dating my wife, and you know, so I go to the hospital. I'm like, I'm gonna die. I'm not gonna make it. I was like sweating, like couldn't use my muscles. Like I was like, this is the end, you know. And then so they put me in a hospital, the Veterans Hospital in Kaohsiung. He gave me Hello Kitty blankets. You know, something that like, I'm gonna die. Then they cover me with the curtain. You know,
I had the curtain
with the net.
Oh, I had that too. The mosquito net.
It totally looks like a morgue, you know.
Yeah.
Like and so she's asking like, so do you have any medicines for him? Like, there's no medicine for this disease. so how he gonna get better? And what if he doesn't get better? Then he doesn't get better. Thank you very much, Taylor.
Thanks for having me.
Can people find you somehow on social media?
No, I don't have any social media.
No social media. Yeah, so if you have any questions to Taylor or ideas for us, what we can do episode about, please write it down below, and maybe we're gonna come up with something more interesting, okay? So thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.
See you.